This is every MCU movie post-Endgame ranked and reviewed. At number 13 on my list is The Marvels. I never saw The Marvels. This is the only film I haven't seen, so it's at the bottom of my list. I will watch it one day eventually. At number 12 is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. It's crazy to think that the biggest movie studio in the world and the most financially successful film franchise of all time gave us this. This is what they gave us. This movie was very reminiscent of films like Shark Boy and Lava Girl, Spy Kids 3D. It's just a terrible movie. I would give Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania a D-. The next movie at number 11 is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I hated this movie. I thought it was terrible. I hate any movie that starts out with an action scene. That's one of my biggest pet peeves when watching a film. When you start out with an action scene, you show the audience instantly that you don't trust in your own writing and your own drama between your own characters and anything to really hook or grasp the audience, so you have to start out with explosions and action. And that's what Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness does. They had nothing to offer but explosions. He had a terrible third eye on his forehead that looked like a PlayStation 2 video game graphics. It's just a horrible movie. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness gets a D. At number 10 on my list is Thor: Love and Thunder. I remember falling asleep watching this movie and Russell Crowe had a toga on, and then when I woke up, Natalie Portman was Thor. It made no sense. There was a bunch of annoying kids at the end of this movie. This entire movie felt like Taika Waititi was almost trolling the audience. Like, he made an entire Marvel movie to just troll the audience, and he made just one big joke. It was like a giant SNL skit, and unlike real people that talk in any sort of real way, and it was just an awful movie. Thor: Love and Thunder gets a D+. The next film on my list is Black Panther 2: Wakanda Forever. I don't know how the idea for the next Black Panther was Shuri. They had so many clear contenders between the leader of the Dora Milaje, M'Baku, Black Panther's girlfriend from the last movie who was like an assassin. How did you go to the teenage scientist who had no martial arts training or no fighting skills as she had shown in the previous movie, and that's the choice for the next Black Panther? That made no sense. The other thing that made no sense is at the very end of the movie, Namor is on the beach, and Namor is fucking dehydrated, and he's dying, and he dies out of dehydration, but the beach is right there. The water is right there. He could have ran 20 feet over and splashed some water on his face and kept fighting. I don't like Ironheart. I don't like that everyone has an Iron Man suit. I think it's just stupid, and it's a bad movie. Black Panther 2: Wakanda Forever gets a D+. The next film on my list at number 8 is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Multiple Rings. I remember people telling me the action scenes in this movie were incredible. I hated that action scene on the bus. I hate any movie. You're telling me this is a regular guy. I get you're telling me he's like the most advanced martial artist in the world or whatever. He's a regular, unsuperhero, unsuperpowered guy. And I'm supposed to believe that he can fight 20 people at once and just hit them one time in like the fucking shoulder with a fist, and they're gonna fall over dead. These are assassins that came to kill this guy. If you watch the movie, if you watch this great action scene, these people just get hit once or like pushed over or hit with a kick, and they just fall over. If you watch actual martial arts, like take like a championship UFC fight, people will fight for 25 minutes, take hundreds of punches to the face, and not be knocked down, and still make it all 5 rounds, 25 minutes. But how come these people in these movies that want to be realistic fall over dead after they get like, you know, an elbow to the shoulder? It makes no sense. I don't understand how Shang-Chi's friend, who was just like a regular girl, at the end of the movie is like fucking shooting down dragons or something with a crossbow. That makes no sense. There were some things I liked about this movie, but not enough. I would give Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Hidden Temple a C. Number 7 on my list is Captain America 4: Brave New World. I hate the title of this, that subtitle. It is so uninteresting. What kind of new world is it? A brave new world. Who thought of that? Who thought of that? That's just awful. This movie was a convoluted mess of a movie. There's so many things that don't make sense. The leader's plan is ridiculous. The trailers completely spoiled Red Hulk. It's in the last like 5 minutes of the movie, and you're going to spoil Red Hulk. The visual effects were very bad. The action wasn't great, but for some reason, I do like Anthony Mackie as Captain America or slash Falcon. I love Harrison Ford in almost anything. And so the characters in this movie made it entertaining enough despite how convoluted and ridiculous the script was, despite how terrible the nonstop stock free music was that played through the entire film, the terrible editing, and the lack of confidence in the film and the terrible action. I thought there was enough entertaining in this movie to get it a C plus. Number 6 on this list is Black Widow. This movie would probably be lower, but I really like David Harbour. Scarlett Johansson and Florence Pugh are pretty good looking, and everybody in this film has decent charisma enough to make it entertaining. But this movie was pretty bland overall, and was just a generic, junky comic book movie. I don't remember much about it at all. I'm gonna give it a C plus. The next movie at number 5 is Eternals. I think Eternals is like the lowest rated MCU movie of all time. I think it was okay. The action I thought sucked. It was a little bit way too long where it was getting kind of boring, but it was a unique take for an MCU movie, and I actually liked a couple of the characters in the film, and I liked kind of the mythology that they were setting up, and I actually kind of was entertained for this film, and I liked the different take that it went down. I would give Eternals a C+. At number 4 on the list is Spider-Man Far From Home. This movie isn't the most memorable, and it's probably the worst of the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. But the kids in this movie, I just love those kids. Tom Holland's a great Spider-Man. I like Zendaya. I like the other kid in the film. I like the entire school going on this like cross-country trips. Something about these Spider-Man movies, sometimes they feel more like high school movies than superhero movies, which I really do enjoy. Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio was completely forgettable, and it feels like a total waste of Jake Gyllenhaal and a waste of the Mysterio character. I feel like there's so much cooler stuff they could have done with him. But overall, I would give Spider-Man Far From Home a B-. Number 3 on this list is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. In my opinion, the worst of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, but honestly, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 wasn't that great either. I like Guardians of the Galaxy 3 enough. I liked how heavy the Rocket story was in this film. A bit of this film gets a little bit ridiculous by the end, and by the end, I'm kind of over Star-Lord and his shtick, but I really like this movie overall. I thought it was very entertaining enough. I like all the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I think this might be the weakest of the bunch, but it was entertaining enough. I would give it a B. At number 2 on my list is Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine is kind of just a ridiculous, goofball, blockbuster, turn your brain off film, but it was pretty fun. Deadpool and Wolverine, seeing them together on screen, these are two actors that really carry a film and have great chemistry and great charisma, and they don't completely fall flat and dead like other MCU movies. There's actually, like, you could just watch these two driving down the road and be entertained by that. I like Deadpool and Wolverine. I like just how comic booky it got in the film. Pretty fun movie. It got very ridiculous by the end of it, but that's most of these movies. I would give Deadpool and Wolverine a B. And my number 1 MCU film post-Endgame is Spider-Man No Way Home. While there's parts of this movie that I think is absolutely stupid, like how everything happens in the first place because Tom Holland just like is talking to Doctor Strange and not listening to him and speaking too fast and has a brain fart and like unlocks all this shit, it's a pretty fun movie. It's a really entertaining comic book movie, and it's not just seeing the old Spider-Man come into the film, but Andrew Garfield brings so much to the film, and Tobey Maguire brings so much to the film, and Tom Holland, seeing these three together, these are three actors that really, like, they have the charisma to them that is endlessly watchable, and Spider-Man No Way Home is one of the few MCU movies where when it ends, I felt like I could have watched an extra 20 or 30 minutes, where most of these movies on this list, by the time it ends, I was ready to end my life. Spider-Man No Way Home, I felt like I could have watched some extra. All the villains coming back, pretty much everybody in this movie was really like chewing up the scenery, and it feels like something that's lost in modern day blockbusters. I would give Spider-Man No Way Home a B+. That's my ranking of all the MCU movies post-Endgame. So this is from 2019 to 2025, a 6-year span. That's my list. What would your list be?